Welcome to the video on multiple representations. If you have not watched this video on meet amorphous, go ahead and pause this video, go back into Canvas and watch this one first. Linear functions can be shown four different ways. You can have it as a verbal description, otherwise known as a word problem. You can show it as an equation in slope-intercept format. You can find the information in a table, and it can also have a graph of all the information shown. What we are going to be working on is you will be given one of these four ways, and then you need to create all of the other ways to show a linear function. Now keep in mind, these linear functions are all the same line. So in this situation, we are given the verbal description. A baby giraffe measures 6 feet tall when it is born, and it grows an average of 1/2 foot each month. So, taking this information, we need to create an equation. Now, if you recall, in y equals mx plus b format, per is your x value, meaning each or every, whatever's happening over and over. And then the B is your one-time thing or where it started, something that's only going to be like, this is my starting point one time. In the table, we have our input values and our output values. Input are your X, output are your Ys, otherwise known as domain and range. And then in the graph, we need to, label our axes and graph all the information. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's look at our problem again. A baby giraffe measures 6 feet tall when it is born, and it grows an average of 1/2 foot each month. Each meaning per. So we know this 1/2 is per month, so that's going to go in for my M. And where did this baby giraffe start? Well, he started at 6 feet tall. So here's the equation based on that verbal description. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this equation and we're going to create a table from the information. So I'm simply taking my inputs and plugging them into my formula. There'll be a process and then getting my output. So if we look, I'm plugging in 0 in for my X value and getting my Y value, which is, 1/2 times 0 is 0 plus 6 is 6. Then we're going to plug in 1 month, and we find that in 1 month, the giraffe's height is 6.5 feet. Then we're going to plug in 2 months, and we find that the giraffe is 7 feet. 3 months, 7.5. 4 months, 8. 5 months, 8.5. And in 6 months, the giraffe is 9 feet tall. So we could keep going on this, but I think this is sufficient enough for our table. And now we can actually start graphing our information based on my X values and my Y values. However, first we need to label our axes. We know here my Y axis has to do with my output, which is height in feet. My X axis has to do with my input, which is marked to be in months. So now we need to determine how we're going to scale our axes. Well, looking here, it starts at 0 to 6. So we're going to go ahead and label the x-axis by ones. And if you see, he's not growing too quickly. So from 6 to 9, although that's still a little higher up, you can't just start at 6. You always have to start at a 0. But these are pretty close together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this one by ones as well. Then we're just going to simply plot our points. The first point is 0, 6. So I'm going to take my point here, and at 0, remember he started at 6, which makes sense for it to be my y-intercept. 6.5 is going to be a little bit too difficult to graph, so I'm going to jump to, in 2 months, he is at 7. I'm I'm going to grab a point here, and in 2 months, I'm putting him at 7 feet. I'm going to do the same thing for the next value. I'm skipping the 7.5 and going in 4 months. He's at 8 feet. And then plotting the last one here. We are looking in 6 months. He will be at 9 feet. Then I can go ahead and graph my line, starting here and going out, and then just understand that he will continue to grow over the remaining months. So hope you understand how everything is working together. We're only talking about the exact same line in each one of these situations, and that we can jump between the two. If you're given a graph, you can find all of the other information. If you're given an equation, you can create a verbal description, find a table, create a graph. So you can jump through all of these different ways to represent a line. If you have any questions, please feel free to come in for some help and then finish your worksheets. Have a great day.